Spend 10 minutes online and you will meet two completely different versions of artificial intelligence. In one, it is about to cure diseases, hand everyone a personal genius, and change life for the better in ways we can barely imagine. In the other, it is coming for your job, drowning the internet in fakery and quietly handing too much power to a handful of giant companies. Here is the strange part. Both of those pictures are painted by serious, intelligent people. So which one is true? The honest answer, and the whole point of this lesson, is that they are both partly true, and you do not have to pick a side. This is the lesson where we lay the excitement and the worry next to each other, fairly, with no cheerleading and no doom, so you can hold a sensible opinion of your own. Here's what you will walk away with. The genuine reasons thoughtful people are excited. The genuine reasons thoughtful people are worried. The places where the debate is honestly still open versus the places where there is already broad agreement. And permission, explicit permission, to be both interested and cautious at the same time. Because most of the wisest people in this conversation are exactly that. No verdict at the end. Just both columns, honestly. Let us go. Start with what is genuinely exciting, because a lot of it is real and quietly useful. First, productivity at a human scale, not robots replacing factories. Just an ordinary person getting an afternoon's worth of writing, planning, or sorting done in an hour. A first draft of the email you were avoiding, a holiday itinerary in 2 minutes. The boring admin of life made lighter. Second, accessibility. This is the one that never makes headlines and matters enormously. Real-time translation, so a language barrier stops being a wall. Reading assistance for people with poor eyesight or dyslexia. Help drawing, writing, or making things for people who never had the training. For a great many people, AI quietly removes an obstacle they had lived with for years. Third, language barriers shrinking, a market stall in one country, a customer from another, and a phone that translates both ways. Instantly, that is not science fiction anymore. That is a Tuesday. Fourth, solo creators doing work that used to need a team. One person can now draft, design, translate, and polish work that a few years ago meant hiring 4 people. For a small business or a one-person shop, that is a genuine lever. And fifth, the one this whole channel keeps coming back to, the patient explainer. An endlessly patient tutor for any adult who wants to learn something and was too proud or too busy to ask. It is real, and for a lot of people, it is the single best thing about the technology. Notice what ties all 5 together. None of them is a robot taking over the world. They are small human-sized wins. A barrier removed, an hour saved, a thing finally explained. The genuine excitement is rarely about some dramatic future. It is about the ordinary present getting a little easier for a lot of people today. That is the part worth being excited about, and it is already here, not promised for later. Now the other column. And these worries are held by serious people too, so we take them seriously. First, privacy. When you type into a cloud AI, your words travel to a large company's servers. For a recipe, who cares? For your medical history or your business secrets, that matters. The convenience and the exposure arrive together, and not everyone is comfortable with the trade. Second, the jobs debate. This is the loudest worry and the most uncertain. Some jobs will change, some tasks will be automated, and reasonable people genuinely disagree about how much, how fast, and whether new work appears as quickly as old work changes. Anyone who tells you they know exactly how this plays out is guessing with confidence. Third, slop. That is the actual word people use, the flood of low effort. AI-generated content filling the internet. Articles written to game search engines, fake reviews, generic images everywhere. It makes finding something real and human a little harder than it used to be. Fourth, the energy and water cost. The giant data centers that run these models use real electricity and real water for cooling. It is a genuine environmental cost, and it belongs in an honest accounting. And fifth, centralization. The most capable models are built by a small number of very large companies because it takes enormous money and computing power. That concentrates a powerful technology in very few hands, and a lot of thoughtful people are uneasy about that, regardless of how those companies behave today. And notice what ties these five together too. None of them is the science fiction nightmare of a machine waking up and deciding to harm us. They are ordinary human-sized concerns: your data, your work, the quality of what you read, the cost to the planet, and who ends up holding the power. They are worth taking seriously precisely because they are not fantasy. They are the same sensible questions you would ask of any powerful new tool that arrived this quickly. Now the part that actually helps you judge any AI argument you will ever hear, knowing which questions are settled and which are still wide open, broadly agreed that the technology is genuinely useful for the everyday tasks in the excited column, that it makes things up and must be checked, that the data center costs are real, that low-effort content is increasing. Almost nobody serious argues with those, still genuinely open. The jobs question, nobody knows the net effect, how far the capabilities will go and how fast, how it ought to be regulated, whether the worries get worse or get managed. When someone speaks with total certainty about one of these open questions, that certainty is the tell. They are selling you a feeling, not a fact. It works in plain conversation too. I saved me an hour writing that report, settled, believable, the kind of thing that happens every day. AI will make half of all office jobs disappear by next year, wide open and stated far too confidently to trust. You do not need to know who is right. You only need to know which kind of claim you're hearing. And the heat goes out of it. Let us make it human. Picture two friends at the same table. One is thrilled. Her small translation business has tripled because the AI handles the rough first pass and she just polishes. Real, measurable good. The other is worried. His teenage son barely writes anything by hand anymore, and he wonders what that does over years. Also real, also fair. Here is the thing. They are not actually arguing. They are describing different, true parts of the same large, messy change. The excited friend is not naive. The worried friend is not a doomer. They are both right about their own corner. And you are allowed to hold both of those at once. 3 things to carry with you. First, it will change everything and it will ruin everything, are both ignoring most of the picture. The honest answer is almost always some yes, some no, depending on which part. Second, test a big claim with a small question. When someone says, A, I will replace a whole profession next year, ask which specific task already works well today and which still clearly needs a person. The answer usually deflates the headline. Third, notice the time horizon. Short-term predictions tend to overestimate the change. Long-term ones tend to underestimate it. So when a date is attached to a dramatic claim, that date is usually where the hype is hiding. And the permission slip. You do not have to read every AI debate, take a side, or keep an opinion ready. You are allowed to be interested and cautious at the very same time. That is not fence-sitting. It is the calmest and most honest place to stand, and most thoughtful people are standing right there with you. You also do not need to track the daily drama, the new model launches, the online arguments, the influencer takes. The big picture barely moves from week to week. You can check in once a season and miss nothing that matters. And here is the quietest permission of all. You are allowed to find the whole thing genuinely interesting and still decide it is not for you. Interest does not obligate you to adopt anything. Plenty of people will read both columns, nod, and carry on exactly as before, and that is a completely sensible response. If you would like both columns side by side, the excited reasons and the worried reasons, plus what is settled and what is open, the companion document for this lesson is on our resources page. Free, no email, nothing to sign up for. Next time, in Lesson 5, we get practical and hands-on. How to actually try this yourself for free in about 2 minutes with the one rule that keeps you completely safe. No more theory, your first real go. And if you would rather have a real person talk any of this through with you, one-on-one, that quiet option is there too. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. We had an opinion on how to weigh the two sides. We shared it. Where you land is entirely yours.